when ICE agents came under fire and the crowd pressed in, they fled. So you'll have to have the police force probably replaced in some of these areas. All right. And that's not to say that these guys are bad, that they're completely for the other sides. In the case of Portland, it looks like they are. And maybe in Chicago they are. But in a see, that sun is like crazy over there. So for a great extent, look at that water out there, and that water beautiful. So we're having a nice sunny day. We've had snow and rain, snow in the higher peaks, and rain. So everything's like vibrant. So in the next several days into next week, probably this weekend especially, we may see George Floyd 2.0, like I predicted. I said when George Floyd finally ended, I said that's just training for what's coming. So we're going to see it. All right. We've seen the Antifa and the BLM, which are the brown shirts for the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party are basically the Nazi Party of America, right? So, and they keep, because like Saul Alinsky, their great, guy that basically taught the Democrats, especially Hillary Clinton and a lot of others, how to fight, the good people of America, how to take them down. So we're seeing a lot of that happening now. So it's escalating. It will continue to escalate. And now I've seen, and I'm going to point this out with some of these special agents that raided a building in Chicago. I'm looking at special forces, probably Dev Group, SEAL Team 6, and Delta level guys, right? Going in and doing building clearance, right? So I've talked about this for quite some time, and Wine has talked about this a little bit as well, of how elite special forces groups are active in America. So we saw some of that in Chicago. Now we heard that in Chicago, they were like, "We'll send in the military. We got some badasses here. They're not going to do so well. Going to find out, right?" And they're already finding out. So it's going to be a war zone in Chicago, guys. I've talked about this for years. Get out of the big cities. They're going to get really, really bad, and it's going to escalate very quickly from here on. Because I said it, once the bullets start to fly, that's when it goes hot, and we're seeing the bullets starting to fly, right? So here we go. It's on, and it's not going to slow down. It's not going to slow down at all. It's going to escalate very quickly, very violently, going into the future. So Portland in a maelstrom right now. Now I want to look at the big picture around the world, because it's not just America that's going to suffer, guys. We're already seeing this in Europe. And in Europe, as you guys know, there's no guns like we have here. And they're very, very, controlled, their police forces and so forth, by the deep state. So in Europe, the people of Europe are getting hammered right now, and it's going to get a lot worse. All right, so let's look at this. Here's this. This is Turning Point USA, front lines on the ground in Paris, France. Now I was in Paris, France for my book, The Intuitive Warrior. It was like about 20 years ago now, and it was Paris was absolutely fantastic. I was like, this is what I always thought that Paris was like, and I got to have a really good, great food, of course. French food is my favorite food. I got to see, the Eiffel Tower, all kinds of stuff. The Versailles, you name it, I did it. I was there for 2 weeks talking about my book. They invited me over, talked about the Intuitive Warrior. So it was great. Had a great time. Absolutely phenomenal city. It is a shithole now, and you're going to see it. And what caused that? Illegal immigration. What are they fighting about in all of these big cities? They're fighting for illegal immigration. This is a takeover by the deep state. This is a war.
Hernandez in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, because I've been covering the illegal immigration crisis in the United States over the last 4 years, but I wanted to come to Europe to...
So she's been in the United States for the last 4 years. I've seen some of her work. She does a really good job. She's up front with it. So she wanted to go to other, like Europe, and find out, what it's like in Europe. Now, I've said this for a while, that Europe is a lot worse because I've seen it. I've been to Europe. I saw Europe going downhill when I used to travel for the CIA, and I'd go through Europe and so forth. And then, of course, 20 years ago, like I'm talking about, Paris was magnificent, magnifique. And today it is, as you're going to see in this video, it is worse than America.
Check out how the crisis is going over here. Now, a lot of people will take you in front of the Eiffel Tower to highlight the migration crisis, but we actually have been through various parts of Paris, and to be quite honest with you guys, this crisis is a lot worse than I even expected it to be. Now, I was looking at some of the numbers, and you have about 400,000 to 500,000 both legal and illegal migrants coming into France every single year. And as you are walking around various suburbs of Paris, you very much see that. Now, first impressions of Paris. There is graffiti on every single beautiful building as you are driving from both North Paris into the heart of the city. On top of that, the city isn't the cleanest, I'll be quite honest with you guys. It's pretty stinky, lots of trash. You are very...
Now, when my wife and I were in Paris 20 years ago, it was clean. It was beautiful, no graffiti. It was very French, right? I can't believe the French have let this happen, because the French are extremely protective of their culture and heritage. They have, in just 20 years, completely let it go.
Much seeing the results of the migrant crisis on every single street corner. I mean, everywhere we've gone, every single street, you are seeing African migrants. There are also various parts of Paris in which the French people and the French culture is absolutely nowhere to be seen. We are talking entire neighborhoods, entire cultural enclaves in which you are not seeing the French or their culture represented at all. And again, I wanted to come here because we are seeing the exact same thing mirrored in the United States of America.
Yes, in the United States of America, we're seeing the same thing. Cities completely taken over by Muslim, African groups and so forth. There's no resemblance to some of these cities as being American at all. Right. So the same thing that's happening in Paris, which is far worse, as you can see here, but it is happening in America. And fortunately, it is not accelerating because President Trump has shut the border down. So in Paris, in the rest of Europe, it has not stopped. It's accelerating.
And similar to the United States, the media is absolutely covering up what is going on over here. The government is watering down.
And you see here, Europe's rape epidemic. How can they let this continue? Well, it's because the police force is compromised, like we're starting to see in Portland, like we're starting to see in Chicago, and they have allowed this to go forward. The criminal court systems are compromised, like we've seen in America, and this globalist deep state takeover of Europe has almost succeeded, guys. Europe is almost completely gone.
A lot of those numbers. Now, I've been talking to a lot of local journalists, and similar to the US, they state that, of course, the media is completely watering down what is going on over here, going so far as to change the name of migrants when crimes are committed, so that way there isn't any bad sentiment in the public view towards migrants. You also have
So for all the liberal idiots out there that believe they can take away guns and then there will be no more violence with weapons, they need to see all of the knife attacks that are happening throughout Europe now. Knives being held against people, people being knifed, like I'm talking about the one man in Kentucky that broke into a house and knifed the family. He said his intent was to kill everybody. So this is the incredible corruption and destruction of civilization by the deep state all over the world.
Of course, a large uptick in stabbings and sexual assaults related to migrants and the French women